Okay. So hi everyone. Good morning for States and good afternoon for Europe and good evening for Russia and Eastern Europe. We are Airteam community and we have Alisa Poliakova today with us. She's a senior product manager at Deel. And we will be talking about remote job, about how to land your dream job and how to find it, and about some immigration tips. And Alisa, hi, thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself? Can you tell us a bit more about your career path and what did you do before Deel and how did you end up there?
Yeah, hi, sure. Super. So, as you said, I'm Alisa. I'm right now senior product manager at Deel, and I started my product management career like approximately 6 years ago when I was working at Get, which is a taxi hailing service with operations in Israel, Russia, and UK. So I've been a product manager there for Ride application, which basically is let's say the most consumer-facing application that you use for ordering taxi. So great first place for product manager. Then I used to be, so I spent there like around 2 years probably, and then I joined a Greek startup called Welcome Pickups, also focused on transportation market, but mostly on transfers. They currently have operations in approximately 100 destinations across the world. Majority are in Europe, but also they have like Africa, Latin America. I think that they open in North America right now. So that was an amazing experience because we used to be a pretty small startup with, I would say 130 people. So like in one particular moment of time from the product department, it was only the CPO and me. So that's why you actually had a pretty cool opportunity to learn pretty much all the different parts of the system and contribute to multiple applications of traveler, driver, and some other ones. All the admin and internal like billing and payment systems. So that was a pretty cool experience. Then after the start of 2020 year, when we had COVID, like I came back to Moscow and decided to work for some time for a Russian company, but really wanted to see some well-set processes, product processes. So that's why I joined Avito, which are actually pretty great in terms of the product management processes on the market. And I used to be working there in after category. So was responsible for C2C dimension in automobile market. So and I guess that already like almost a year and a half I'm working in Deel. And since I joined last September, I pretty much been in 6 different teams across Deel. So this is a lot of experience in one company. Yeah, so this is a short career intro, let's say.
Thank you. And can you talk about more about the company? Like what is the product and what you guys are doing? As far as I read on your website, you help companies to hire people around the world, which I think is super hot topic right now. So can you tell us more about the company and about the product?
Yeah, absolutely. So Deel is a pretty young company that was founded like in, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018 or like closer to 19. And Alex Bozis and Sure, the 2 founders, they started from Y Combinator, and in 3 years made like significant growth from pretty much just early stage startup to $12.5 billion of valuation, which is if you would open Yandex market capitalization right now, it would be like around $10 billion, while Deel, who's like just three years old and have 1,500 people working inside. So as our company employees and contractors. So this is a pretty huge progress. So talking about the product itself, yeah, we help to hire people across the world. And we basically have multiple products and solutions for that, but I could probably focus your attention on 3 of them, which are the most common. So the first one, which basically my team is developing, is contractors experience, then full-time employees and global payroll, with multiple of extra products that I could also mention. But taking the example of contractors, so it's always easier to explain with a case. So for example, you as a young American company who, by the way, just started developing the community, and you probably would like to have some people who contribute to your courses or like a website. So you want to hire some people who do like a high quality website, designs, illustrations, and for some reason, all people in your network right now located in different countries, right? So we have somebody in Spain, another person is in Kazakhstan, and the third one is actually in UK. And so the question is how to compliantly sign a contract and maintain a contract with these people, and how to compliantly pay them. So the first product for contractors is just allowing you to create these contracts and maintain them together with the payments in a hassle-free mode. So you actually open the platform and you could have it all set within the minutes. So you don't need to spend your time on understanding what are the laws of this country and how to actually pay and to what bank account, because you just, whenever you would pay your contractor, you would pay to Deel platform, and then the contractor would have like 10 different payment methods to withdraw this money. So this is really compliant and for, I would say, admin and HR. And second product is about full-time employees, because in some countries and for some particular job types, you have a high risk of misclassification and you cannot hire these people as contractors. So you actually want to hire them as full-time employees. You want them to have some health benefits, to have some, I don't know, pensions and different like other taxes that are not usually the case for contractors. So in that case, it's even more complicated for the company, because you need to usually open a subsidiary in this in a country where you want to hire this full-time employee. So you want to open an office. You usually have some legal limitation that you need to hire CEO and person like for finance, and they have a minimum budget. So like it's actually hell, because you need to spend a lot of money and admin resource and just arranging it all for hiring only one person maybe. So in order to simplify this process and to allow you as a company to be more flexible in your hiring experience, we provide employee of record solution, where you could actually have a contract with Deel regarding hiring this person, but your full-time employee would be hired by us in one of our almost like, I don't know, we have more than 80 subsidiaries right now around the world. So pretty much in every country that you want to cover, we would have an office, and we would hire this person for this office. The third case is, and of course, like all the pensions, healthcare, and other benefits would be included. So the third case is Global Payroll, when you already have people, and maybe you have already some contractors, you are the Meta, and you have your own like workforce, but you want to pay all of them from one place. So basically, this will provide you like the same experience on the payment, so that you could actually pay for all these people for our system, and all these contractors, full-time employees, so they will enjoy all our benefits of like multiple payment methods with different currencies. Regarding the payment method, by the way, it's really cool because they could withdraw from, I don't know, Swift, but also by Payoneer, Coinbase, Wise, pretty much everything that you could come up with. like Revolut and stuff, and even do it in USDT if you want, but of course pretty much all the currencies, and can use like our bank cards and different features for the payments like Deel Advance to get the payment earlier than actually you would send it to them. So this would be regarding the global payroll, but a part of that we have multiple, I would say, horizontal solutions like mobility services that would allow you to relocate people to right now 21 destinations, if I'm not mistaken, with working visa or some just freelance visas. And we allow you right now to also send an equipment through Deel in pretty much like more than 100 countries on the world, like so that you don't need to worry like how to send a laptop to your employee, or like mobile phone, or maybe even a table. Different like things like a working experience. So we actually are pretty fast on adding some new benefits on top.
And do you help with visas or with immigration somehow, or this is
this is a pretty young domain like in Deel structure. So just recently we started building a department and a different like product team that are focusing on mobility experience. So I just checked today from the website, we have 21 destinations right now. But this is just like the first quarters of mobility services. So I think that we will expand pretty in a good way, in a good pace.
Okay, and when did you start to work for them? Like a year ago, you said?
I started working in last September. So that was a pretty interesting experience because like I joined when it was when Deel was pretty small. It had 300 people. So right now we have almost 1,500 in just a bit more than a year. Yeah, so we're definitely a company in a hyper growth, and we'll probably continue to grow with the same pace.
Okay, and how did you find this job? Like, was it easy? How did you look for this job?
Yeah, so like I knowledged about Deel by just coincidence because a friend of mine who used to be working in Revolut, he was focused on an idea of creating his own startup, and in multiple conversations he just mentioned Deel because it has like some Revolut founders as well, not founders, but like a lot of C-level management from Revolut. And so he kept mentioning Deel as the rapidly growing startup with just like that makes a super change on the market. And when I probably heard about Deel for the third time, I was like, okay, I need to check what is it. So when I checked, I actually fell in love with the concept because for me, Deel resolves a pretty important problem right now, like the problem of geographical arbitrage. Like I myself as a person who used to be born in a small city in the south of Russia, like I really value when people, no matter the place where they are, can have can actually face like all the opportunities of meritocracy, and like it shouldn't be a case where you're allocated. It should, the only thing that should value is what can you do. So there's a world even previously, but right, it was never so comfortable and so easy as it is right now with Deel and some of our competitors. It was never that easy for small companies, because previously it was just mostly for some enterprise ones. But right now, even if you have 5 people in a workforce, you could just easily hire people in pretty much like every place in the world. So I just fell in love with the concept, because it just something really that meets my expectations and my let's say values in life. So and applied through the website. And one more thing, like I actually found pretty much all people who were working in product department in LinkedIn and added them as well. And a funny story, like I actually got a reply from my current boss, head of product. So he said that he will take some time and see how much. He replied me in LinkedIn, and he said that he needs some time to see what are the opening positions. So he checked and replied 1 month later that unfortunately in my time zone, it used to be Moscow at that time, he doesn't have any positions. Yeah, but at the same, like probably same day or maybe in a day after, another person from product department said that, okay, I just read your motivation letter, it's amazing. Let's have the first round of interview. So
I would want to see this motivation letter.
Pretty much what I told you. I just like gave an examples of people that I know and who would contribute like from having this service. Yeah.
Okay, and how big is your team? Like the team that you're working at, the product team?
Okay, depends how to count, because like in the product team with just product managers, analysts, designers, and product operations, we have 70 people right now. I completely already don't know how many engineers, but probably like around 200. I'm just assuming right now. In my particular team, I would say that around 15. Because we have like engineering teams are usually not more than 10 people, but my connection is poor. Let me check, because in reality I have some problems with internet connection today. Okay, I might take 1 minute to switch and let's see if
sure.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So usually engineering teams are not more than 10 people. So right now we have like a super team that is split into 2. So we're in a course, so that's why it's like 15, and we would have like a couple of teams at the same time. But as I used to mention, like I've been like across this year and a couple of months in 6 different teams. So that's pretty a lot of experience of remote work with multiple countries and multiple product directions. Yeah.
And do you face any challenges working in a remote team like this?
Yes, absolutely. I would say there are pretty a lot of different problems, like as time zone, of course, like we're even right now in this super team, we have sub team that are located in Latin America and they start pretty late in the evening. And we have majority of the team that are located in Eastern Europe. And so it's completely different hours. And you always have a trouble on trying to find some time for some all team events and communications, because let's say we have a lot of operations within Deel who are located in North America. So we have pretty a lot of escalations that just start like when all our team are already like going to sleep. And then the Latin America part are just dealing with all the stress. So this is a challenge. I would say it's also obviously pretty hard to build some strong personal connections with people when you're working remotely, because you don't have enough time when actually talk about spend time on small talks, let's say. And especially when you're like working as a product manager whose schedule is always just like 30 or minutes or 100 or just like 1 hour meetings, you usually want to go straight to the details. So you skip the part with like, hey, how was the weekend or something like that. And which basically doesn't help. So you actually need to sometimes think about it like, okay, probably I need to dedicate the first 5 minutes to be nice and just to know like what's happening in this person's life, because that would make our connection like stronger and just benefit, and we will enjoy this time together way more. What else? Yeah, regarding like team bondings, because like you could work with some people at the same team for years and you might still don't know the person. Mm-hmm. And the fourth, but probably the main ones, we have some people like in different countries that are been largely affected last year. So I would say this is not a problem of the remote work, but this is something that you like basically emotionally really affected like on a daily basis. Yep.
Thank you for your answer. And we have a lot of people in our community who are in their transition time in their career. So they're looking to find a job, or they're looking to change the sphere of their job, or they're also looking to relocate. So if we can talk about like how to find a remote job, how to, Alisa, are you still here? Because we don't see the video.
Yes, I'm still here. Can you tell me how was my connection in the couple of last minutes? Because
we don't see the video now, but I don't think it changed much.
Okay, so fine. I will then continue this way, and please interrupt me, because if I would need, I could switch to my mobile network probably. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we hear you very well, but we don't see you now.
Yeah, I just switched it off.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, the question is, how do you find a remote job and where to look? And you're an expert in that, and your company also are experts in that. And I know that you came prepared. So we have your presentation here, and I'm going to share the screen now.
Okay, because I'm unable to share. So host is able, please.
I will do it now. Yes. Yeah.
And if so, you can just follow my mouse. If you would click on the right on my face, then you would see.
Everyone sees the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Yeah, I see it was a small delay, but that's fine. So first of all, as I understood, pretty a lot of people here like joined for in order to understand how to find a remote job. So that's why like let's spend maybe around 10 minutes on this particular question. First of all, finding a remote job is right now not about finding a remote job, but about finding a job. And I think that in Russia, let's say, and we have majority of the Russian-speaking participants here right now, and probably it would be the case with people who watch us later. So I think that we actually have a pretty interesting culture when we don't have like a structured approach on searching for a job. So we, especially for such positions as like marketing, engineering, product managers, like I'm talking about IT, we have our like top list of 10, 15 companies in Russia, or and that we usually like try to focus on, and like the list of 20 companies on the international market and like that we're interested in. But to my mind, like one thing that could be done in a bit better way is like to forget about the companies that you know, and to forget about the companies where you have friends or like referees, and make an absolutely different step to a more structured approach. So the minimum thing that can be done is basically yeah, if you can follow me, please. Yeah, yes. on the top right, just click on my avatar that you see with me. And
yeah, okay.
Yeah, super. Yeah, so the first step, and pretty basic one, but there is no discussion if we don't mention it, as basically LinkedIn. And in LinkedIn, I just check like, yes, you actually can find a job, remote job. Like if you would open basic search filter with remote, and you can find, and that's how you can find it right now. But you have special remote job boards right now, and you can basically just Google them. There are like a lot of boards with only remote positions. I don't think that they would have a better solutions and better proposal for job positions out on LinkedIn, but that's a different thing. What I
a
would
lot of them
suggest-
are location. Sorry, a lot of them are location specific, like the job boards. So if you wanna, like, you need to decide where you want to look, like where the companies are located.
I think that in LinkedIn, by the way, it's way more location based. In remote job, I assume that it should be like a part of the experience that you just don't care where is it located. So you're mostly searching by function. But honestly, like all the names that I read, let's say here of these boards, they're not so famous, and I don't think that there are a lot of like companies who actually use them, but you can try. What I actually would love you to think of is about these positions that you would actually not find on LinkedIn, and because they might be lost under like thousands of other open positions. Here I would like you to basically think about like what are the job with the parameters, like what are the parameters that you would like to see in your future position. If you're, let's say, hunting for early stage startups, and I know that from like with a lot of people, this is the case. One of the best solutions would be just like to check the top of accelerators, and they always have sections. For example, here, startup jobs, this is just a screenshot from Y Combinator, but you could open it and you could search straight away from all their Y Combinator startups. I would assume that they are super small, right? Like you could check, but by the moment when the company stop like being in batch of Y Combinator, they have a valuation of $3 million, like more or less, right? And probably here, like we could have some oldies, but still it would be like a pretty interesting size, like early startups here. Another thing that is also under evaluated is basically checking some really cool media and checking for specifically for the parameters that you want to know. For example, before I was looking for Deel, I actually had an idea that I probably need to meet my my childhood dream and find some startup that would combine ecology and product management, and ideally in UK. And I was looking like for super specific companies, which is you just can't Google them. And in LinkedIn, there is no way to find them. But this is a pretty cool case. So you could basically check by multiple parameters and Google from the list, I don't know, full list of UK unicorns, or for example, the fast growing companies or the best companies to work for. Why is it interesting? Like here, you would still have pretty a lot of like unique company names that you never heard about. And this would be a good starting point to check what we have, like what exists right now. But for super specific approach, I would even recommend to go bold and like check Crunchbase and Deel. So Crunchbase is basically for, I think that probably everybody knows it on the call from our audience, but it's mostly focused on US and world, while Deel is focused on the European market. And you cannot imagine what is the size of the startups that they're covering. It's really small, like really early stage startups that sometimes completely don't have any PR, and like you cannot Google them. So when I was looking for this example with a startup, probably on the ecology, that will combine ecology and maybe even green finance and product management, I actually surprisingly found here in a Deel room, and I think that I probably have it opened right now. No, I cannot share the screen. Yeah, okay. I just opened the Deel room previously in my Chrome. But here you could have a super bold search on multiple parameters, and I found even like around 15 different companies that been in a green finance. sometimes with a valuation of less than 1 million. So if you actually are interested in some particular topic, deep topic, and you don't know how to start a search, this is like ideal way to find something. And with with Series A, for example, I don't know if I have here the climate tech jobs, or like, actually by a million of different parameters. This is not a common thing to find a job because you start with LinkedIn, but actually try to find a company first, the company that makes something that you like, and then already to start looking for the positions in this company and like reaching out people from the company, because what you're looking for, you're not looking for a position, you're looking for a company to dedicate your life for, right? Or at least the next couple of years. And the last one really great insight is also checking some industry reports. If, let's say, you've been building a career in retail previously, and this is just like a case of a friend of mine who used to be in the retail market or something like Yandex Lavka previously in the last couple of years, and she's looking for similar positions from the company that she knows from UK market, but like you could have a wider look and check not top 3 or 5 names that you already know from competitors, but to find a super specific reports like this from CB Insights. Literally, like the last time, when I was checking some reports from CB Insights, I even found a company that a friend of mine started half a year ago that completely was like under radar. And I was just by coincidence sending him a screenshot saying like, did you even know that CB Insight wrote about you? And he's like, no, I had no idea. So they're actually monitoring a lot of pretty cool companies under radar. And this is a cool way how to find an early stage startup as well, like that you might be surprised of. Another thing, like a lot of people are looking for European countries to relocate right now, right? But I think that's like broadening the scope and trying to check some of their non-European countries as well, like China might be problematic, but Indian market, some Arab countries, this is also beneficial. I just recently heard a couple of days, a story happened with my friend. He used to be in Twitter before with a really high paid position, but Indian similar startup just like had an offer for him that used to be like 3 times higher than UK Twitter salary. And which basically makes me think that we sometimes are really narrowing our scope of search, and we're looking for some like only some, I don't know, some good-looking European companies of particular size, but why we need to actually challenge and try to look for a purpose of the company first. And this is how you could basically make this exercise. Yeah. So couple of words here on how
Sorry, Alisa, would you suggest to apply for early stage startups actually, or maybe like starting from Series B, because like working for early stage startup can be quite risky?
I'm voting for A, B, whatever, but just not enterprises. But this is my personal choice, because it's always fun to contribute to like the process of the company that you're working at. And when you join already on the really late stages, like I found this, let's say in Anita, when I've been working there, they had 80 plus product managers. So for example, right now we have around, 20 plus product managers in Deel, and I used to be like the fourth. At least when the processes are not ideal, I understand, and I take it also as my personal responsibility, because like I've been there for a year and a half and these processes are not settled yet, right? But when you join a company of a huge size, as like I told about Avita, sometimes it gets boring. Like it might be ideal, you might have it as a great opportunity to learn, but you actually might be in a different phase in your career. So sometimes you want to learn and see the process and understand, like, and this is actually a valuable experience, because if you would go somewhere later on for an early stage company, you need to understand what you're building. If you never saw a good example of the processes that you're building, like you will not be able to replicate them. It will just take too much energy and like reading from you. So to my mind, what is optimal is like to balance it sometimes, but when you get to some particular peak in your career, you understand that you want to build way more than you want to learn. So early learning is, to my mind, is more about like early age, or that's whatever. Yeah, really,
Thank you.
Really
so you found the company of your dream, and what do you do? Like, how do you apply?
Yeah, just in a similar way how in a similar way as I described my journey of applying to Deel, I would do like first apply through LinkedIn or their personal professional website. And second, try to find all the people that you know, or like completely that you don't know on LinkedIn, but in the same function, and just to write them the message. This is a pretty basic thing. I think that majority of people are already like doing it, and still it's super valuable. You might ask just for the reference, but you might also just knock in a profile of your future boss, which is also pretty effective because they're looking for a position probably. Yeah, so that's it. And I would basically not be so afraid of reaching out to companies where you have no people that you know, because again, my personal perception is that majority, like on let's say Russian-based people, they really are into mentality of like getting into the new companies through referrals, through people that they know. Forget about this. Just like because like if you're talented and if you have skills, you just would get it anyway, and just broaden the scope. And yeah, cool. And what is with our time? I would, to be honest, jump probably to some small hacks on how to survive or build a remote team. And here I have some examples of like what is working in our company. So this is just basically noting on what is working for us. So the first problem when we're talking about remote teams is communication, of course. And here you have two major contributors to the mass, which is a calendar and Slack. Most probably you will be using Slack. So with a calendar, one of the like what are the basic tips? Setting the time zones and having the time zones of your team members and yourself. So here I have like a pretty small image of my calendar, let's say. And if you just look a bit, you will see that there are like two time zones always set. But what is important, and I see that this is like a mistake for pretty much everybody like who joins our team, and every new employee who joined Deel, like for some reason, it's not really common, but you have a setting inside your calendar where you could set manage my meetings parameter, because like when you're working remotely, you're not in the same office, and there would like pretty a lot of things that would not go well enough, and some other people would need to reschedule, or you can book it at the times when they're not available. So just allowing people to reschedule the meetings that you set is a crucial part. Booking some time offline, again, like I noticed it for myself and some of the colleagues, when they get offline for a couple of hours, this is pretty cool, just like to block and have it visible, because otherwise you will just like always reach out these people from Slack and don't know why. Regarding Slack, so what's working, what's not, threads, like there should be a pretty strong thread ethic in Slack, so that you don't reply all the time just in the messenger, but you use Slack always. One thing that was completely life-changing, and I see that a lot of my colleagues are still not using it, to my mind, it's just like literally a life-changing. It's like when you create a lot of groups for Slack, but you also try to set it like as show unread only or mute them. Let's say in my current Slack, I have like probably more than 1,000 of different channels. And if I would always have the full list of them, it would be just completely impossible to work and find any new conversation that bumps every couple of minutes. So just, filtering unread only and sorting it out because like, let's say here, majority of the folders are not really like interesting to me, but what I'm using, they are always pre-opened. And we use a lot of plugins for Slack, which is crucial because for companies with remote lifestyle, you just really go both in Slack and the whole life is in Slack. So here, a small advertisement, we have a startup used to know Roots that we acquired a year ago, and right now these are Roots by Deel. So these are plugins that you could use in Slack. So we are actively using it within the team, but you could use it pretty much like as an external user in Slack. So for setting your time off, for like onboarding, for making organizational chart, or referring candidates. So, for example, I'm just showing a small screenshot on how can I add an out of office, or let's say we use a lot of like other plugins that doesn't belong to us, like Albert, which is a pretty interesting secure bot that can educate your team on how to prevent phishing and some other problems. So this is about communication. Regarding, I have two other sections here, and they're pretty cool. So regarding team bonding, we actually, so you actually need to invest a lot in bonding with your team members. And for the large company scale, like we have some just interest channels in Slack, like pets, investors, I don't know, some sport games and anything else. We have different city groups for London, Paris, Amsterdam, whatever. I found it also pretty interesting to to invest in personal communications. So even to move some connections with in non-working hours, when you meet every time with people who you in a country where you travel to. So pretty much in every city, when I go like within the Europe, there are a lot of like our employees and internal dealers, dealers, contractors, and employees. So I usually just set a meeting and we go somewhere to a bar. This is really cool because like later on you just will have some memories and emotions with these people. And some really like subjective advice, but we actually try to even like follow each other in some very social networks, because you don't have time for small talk. This is in some ways the only opportunity how you could learn about people and ask the next day what they've been doing on their cooking class, let's say. So this is pretty cool. I actually, we have some fun time and here I could show a couple of examples on retros and fun time that we do with the team. This is a pretty cool section. I would not scale so much because we have faces and even responses here, but let's say just making some interesting versions of retros, like when you use, I don't know, some ongoing events. This is like last year retro that we had with one of the previous product managers, but it was like with a Christmas theme and it was just cool and just brought some Christmas spirit. Another thing, like for bonding and knowing better your team, this is a team that a game that I just created on True Truth and a Lie. So each team member needed to like pick 3 different, information pieces about themselves, and one of them should be a lie. So everybody was up voting. It's actually fun, and that's how you learn a bit more about people that you are like working with. And the third one is absolutely interesting experience, also created by me. And you could just turn off your imagination and don't try even like to search for that for such solutions, because they're usually pretty basic. But if you would spend 15 minutes on thinking about like, oh, okay, what would be interesting to know about my team, that's going to be way more beneficial. So here we used to have a space voyage where we say that we are leaving the planet and we are going to Mars. And you need to take, let's say, one book, one music record, one painting, one plant, one animal, one person together with you. And that's cool because like by the end we understood at least like what are the musical tastes, who is reading what, who loves philosophy, and who loves some like classical music. And that was really fun. Yeah.
And who is supervising all these activities? This is like HR, or this is you or in your team members who are coming up with the ideas of these things?
For this month, it was like me, but in general, you could pick up anybody from your team and ask to run retro or team bonding event. So we didn't play yet, but some other teams are using Gartic phone, which is so I don't know, in Russian it would be испорченный телефон, and yeah, so they're playing withdrawing some images like by different members, and or playing from mobiles among us, but like just actually having a slot of the time, like 30 minutes or 1 hour to meet with the team and do this, because at least that's some time together that you spend. So I'm more a fan of know your team things rather than gaming, but I think that we should combine. So these are like literally some really interesting advices on how to maintain relationships on the long distance. And the next section is some extra things that you as a company can do for remote employees. So here I just make a small observation of the services that we use for, like in Deel, we use for our employees and newcomers. So, which is one of the companies, Swag Up, and we are sending some swag bags with like t-shirts, cups, and multiple things. You could order it within them, but they will deliver across the world, like maybe just like excluding some particular countries, but this is pretty cool solution when you have a distributed team. Another thing is Coffee, our partner, and we actually just integrated their solution recently inside of Deel. So you could order coffee equipment through Deel with a discount, so better book with us than independently. But what I'm showing here, they just allow you to depending on the country, to send different laptops, mobile phones, like, I don't know, headsets, keyboards, cables, chargers, desks, like chairs, whatever. So you actually can send it for your employees, and you basically you're not buying it, but you rent it on a monthly base, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so like we also run some celebrations for remote team, pretty interesting topic. For example, we do some Secret Santa where we send presents according to the country. So right now I'm in Luxembourg. I would send to another person in Luxembourg, but last year it used to be more fun. Here you could also set notifications for the birthdays of the team members. They could create some wish lists, and so you could maintain it and basically even send a present from your team. And what else? So we, as Deel, we provide some health budget. Let's say in our case, it's $100 that we suggest, because like you might have health insurance, you might not, but because like we are super distributed team, we just give you the budget for that. We also have a budget for co-working, and by the way, also an integration through Deel. You could already open open a work account for any of the contractors and full-time employees. So that's what we also do for our own employees, and that's some basic fees that you could think of if you're hiring a person remotely. You could, by the way, check for a bit more different perks that you could grant to your team members. And this is just like a screenshot from Deel of one of our pages called perks, but it's a bit of low quality screenshot. But what I did, I actually, you could select here from multiple categories and see some partner solutions from pretty much everything, starting from accounting, but even to healthcare. I mean, even here you have multiple solutions for therapy, for healthcare, for, I don't know, some veterinary care and stuff. And we provide a lot of like discounts and promotional campaigns for these partners. So just check it out on our website. And I think that there would be a lot of like extra interesting things. Yeah.
Okay, I have still a lot of questions and I'm really enjoying our conversation here, but unfortunately we are running out of time, and I just want our audience to ask any questions. Guys, you can unmute yourself, you can turn on the video, you can send the questions in the chat. Yes, please feel free to ask. Anyone?
Sorry, I'm in the process of thinking.
Sure. While the participants are thinking, just my last question is, what is like any general advice that you can give to people like looking for remote jobs, like outside of their countries? Like maybe, I don't know, steps or any advice that you can give to them?
Probably, first of all, to identify what are the main factors that you would like to see in your next position, because remote is just one of the factors, right? You might be looking for specific countries to relocate. You might be working for a specific market, but then what I would basically advise to do is like when you already have all these factors, don't just jump to the companies that you know or to the companies where you have like people to refer. Don't narrow the scope with just LinkedIn, but learn way more about the markets and like some super small companies that might be under your radar, that might be interesting for you for later stages, because like remote is, I would say, a default right now for majority of IT companies at least. So just be bold and try to make sure that you checked or pretty much everything that exists in the industries that you are interested in right now, and make a decision after.
Okay, thank you. Maria, do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, I have one. Well, thank you, Alisa. First of all, it was really interesting. And if I understood correctly, you switched from one industry to another, so you don't have like a straight career in one industry only. If it's so, could you please recommend to focus on what kind of skill set or I don't know, experience people in the company that you apply to usually want to see in you if you change one industry to another? So in this case, as I can see, they value you not for the same experience that they have, but something else.
Yeah, great question. So I actually used to have an experience in my life when I changed a job and I was hired for the industry expertise. So that was when I moved from GET to Welcome Pickups, and they were looking for the transportation product manager with a really similar skill set that and experience that I had by the time. So at that moment it was important, but like when I'm looking for the way how we hire right now in Deel. So we never check the industry. I mean, it might be beneficial if, let's say, you're going to be a mobility product manager and you already have an experience in working on some visa-related or relocation-related services. That might be a plus. But in general, what we're looking for is mostly the functional experience. So if we're hiring the product manager, we're hiring just a strong product manager. Doesn't matter in what industry he or she used to be, because the functional expertise right now for the companies is way more important. So you're not looking for a software engineer from, I don't know, retail industry. You're just looking for a software engineer with a product management, and pretty much the same. And that's why actually, let's say, product management is so cool, because you always would have enough positions and not be limited to like narrow scope of opportunities. So you could easily jump from one industry to another. Of course, like if you used to be, I don't know, consumer-facing product manager, you would have like a preference on consumer-facing products rather than tech or like API-based, and vice versa. But I think that more or less like you're looking for pretty much the same functional experience, and industry should not be a decision-making factor for your employee.
Thank you. But what exactly usually is in the focus of the side that hiring? That was more the question that I have. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So structured thinking and I would say problem solving. So like pretty much everybody would have some home task where they would ask to, I don't know, either think about a new service and approach this, right, or to resolve some particular problem of the company. So problem solving approach, and then experience. Meaning, like if you already have a couple of years of managing like 3 teams, or like if you've been a head of a department with like 5 people for 5 teams under you, of course, this is like a valuable thing that says it all. So that's why, to my mind, when you're jumping from one function to another, when you're looking for a job and you're jumping from one function to another, this is like pretty impossible thing. If you want to change a function, you need to do it within the company, not the moment when you're changing the company itself. So, but yeah, just summarizing experience of managing the same teams and the same scope of teams, problem solving, and then fit. And you could just think of how to gradually understand what is what is problem solving, right? It's mostly about like how you're thinking about structured approach, about like can you be a good analyst in like looking for audience, etc. But you've just taken 3 big responses. It's problem solving, expertise, experience, I mean, and fit.
Great, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Maria, for your question. Any other questions, guys? Inga? I think you're...
Hi, yes. Yes, I wanted to say thank you. And I have a question. Do you find it's challenging to work with people with different backgrounds and different mentality? Did you personally have any challenge? Because probably coming from, I guess you're coming from Russia, and you grew up in Russia. Do you find it's different for Russian to work? And if yes, what is the big difference you probably see working in international team? Such a complicated question, sorry.
Yeah, so pretty good cultural map problem. Yeah, there are a lot of like differences on the way how we see the world, and I actually don't think that they are so crucial in my case. as a Russian person, I'm like more straightforward, I'm more like pushy, but this is, let's say, a style of our company. I even had a question from my CEO on the interview when I was like, when there was a hiring process, and he used to ask me like, Alisa, if you're pushing enough, and I said like, yes, you can ask your husband. Yeah, so to my mind, like my specific cultural features, they only contribute to the experience of like managing teams. What would be the complexity? So sometimes like we used to have some months when we like just were trying to calibrate our communication expectations with people from West Europe, because they were like way more calm or like diplomatic and etc. So you actually know about that, and you just like try sometimes to adapt your behavior and like to motivate people for like getting interested to resolve some problem rather than saying them to resolve this problem. So there is like a lot of like learning curve, but to my mind, it's just like a pretty natural process. And after you would meet some people with a completely different opposite mentality from your on the cultural perspective, in 3 months after, you will figure it out. You will notice what is going well and what's not, and that would be pretty much your learning curve. So you will inevitably go through this.
That's interesting. Thank you so much.
I have one more question.
Yeah, Maria, please.
Alisa, could you please tell if there were some, what were the most challenging things in terms of communication well, in the process of communicating with cross or multicultural teams?
Okay, let me think. Yeah, so there was a more direct type of management from my side to a couple of people from, I would say, it's not that easy to see what kind of culture, because they used to be from Asian countries, but moved to and spend all their life in West Europe, so that they also have cultural mix. But let's say direct management to their versus inspirational management. So in Russia, we're like more straightforward and like, okay, this is task, it should be done. So as I said, like with some particular people, I just like completely changed this experience to, okay, let me tell 30 minutes about the problem, and then we will think how to work about this together. Which basically is cool because you're learning as a manager. Then I was thinking about something else. I have a lot of like Ukrainian team members right now, so pretty a lot of learning on communication, because the whole learning loop started when I once asked like, how was the weekend in the morning, and that was the wrong question. Yeah, but you actually learn and adapt.
Thank you. I have actually one more question if we have time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. More about the interviews process, I guess. I know there are some, I don't know whether they are good or not, but for example, verb-etc.com, they help people with going through interviews or finding mentors or something like that. Whether it's a good idea to find that kind of tools to work to go through interviews better or not. I don't know, or is it like to go through interviews just like real interviews to I don't know.
Yeah,
to work.
I think that the best would be to go through real interviews, and I could tell about amazing experience, really like I don't know, unique one that I had when I was looking for a position for the first time. So I I became a product manager when I was in Deel, but it was like an internal in Get, I'm sorry, but it was an internal promotion because I started in the university as a marketing intern. Then I got a position of product marketing manager, and then I moved to product manager. So when I left Get, I actually was looking for a position for the first time, and I was like really scared what should be on the interview, what kind of questions would they ask, like what would they check, because that was the first time I was actually going through like professional interviews. And at that moment, so this is like the young time of my career, like the first 2 years when you're like working basically, but I got with an ideal plan, and I still recommend it to pretty much everyone who is scared about the interview process. So I set a goal to find the next job position within the months, where on the first week, I just said and I have a lot of interviews, actually 4 or 5 weeks. So on the first week, I was learning about the regular questions that they ask for product managers. And there are pretty a lot of resources for this, but I even went a bit bold and started looking for more sophisticated tasks, let's say like finding people inside of Yandex who could give me the tasks of Yandex, the basic versions for Yandex. That was really fun. So the first week I was just like learning hard full time for getting prepared for the interviews. On the second week, I got like multiple interviews, but with the companies that I would never work with, just in order to understand what is the interview process, what questions did they have. By the end of the first week, I already got an understanding on like what is the structure of the interview, what are the things that they're looking for. On the second week, I got like normal companies that I would rather work with. And then it was like a week with, I don't know, dream work companies. And the last week was just, let's say, a summary or the end interviews, like last stages of interviews. So in reality, I don't know, like I got so many interviews at that moment that starting like after this month, there was never a problem for me to go through any interview because I just like learned how to do it ideally. And I think that, of course, some external resources, mentors, and people with professional experience, they could help you. But you just underestimate how much could you do, like when you would just learn and search by yourself, trying to find the answers, and when you will go through this space for multiple times, so that like even on the interview as a dream company, you would know how to present yourself and like your work experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, that's an amazing process. Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah,
I think we really need to make a post about it in our community and share it with other people who were not at the webinar. We have a question from John on our chat. Will you share the presentation? I don't think so, right, Alisa?
Yeah, in reality, I for some reason just prepared it in Figma because we use Figma at work. If it would be Miro, it would be easier to I could think about it. Let me think, but I'm not promising.
We will definitely share a recording, so you can see the part of this presentation on the recording.
And I could make a small summary, especially for this part with looking for a job, because I think that this is pretty good advice and like some websites that I showed, like I could share them with the link with some small introduction.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, if we have no more questions, I guess it's time to go. Usually our webinars is 1 hour. We were here already for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So thank you so much, Alisa. That was super interesting, a lot of very useful information. And we will share a summary and the recording in our group, as well as on our YouTube channel. Yes, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.